Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, then be sure to come join us. We'd definitely love to have you. That group was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check out the High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle private Facebook group. So today I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Jylan Megahed. Welcome, Jylan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. So tell us, Jylan, what is it that you do?
So I am a family law attorney in San Diego County. My office is headquartered out of La Jolla, California, and I just help separated families move forward in their lives through the legal system.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. So how long have you been doing this?
So as an attorney, this will be my 8th year, and I think I'm going on my 9th year. And as a family law professional for the last 15, I guess going on my 16th year.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So in essence, what's your backstory? How did you get started?
So it actually stems all the way back to high school. I really wanted to be a pediatrician, and I took these science classes. AP Bio, was not doing well in them at all. Decided to look up on the internet at the time, like family law or family lawyer, something like that, because I really wanted to focus on, families. And it ended up being an actual career. And I went down the list of attorneys and asked whether I could intern for them just to get some exposure. And I did that as part of my final semester in high school, an internship class, and I got credit for it, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I knew that this was my calling, and every single job I've had since that, and this is when I was 17 years old, I have only had family law jobs. So whether I was a secretary, an intern, an extern, a receptionist, it was only in that field. With the exception of a couple of jobs, I wanted to see if I could maybe like something else and expand my horizons into something else, like constitutional law. Do not like that. Employment rights is not really my thing. So immigration, I've also dabbled in that. And the family law is my passion. So I know that this is what I'm good at and I'm great at. And this is exactly what I want to continue my path on, is family law. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So in terms of let me say, I guess family law. When would someone realize that they would need your services?
When they are wanting to get a prenup, for one. So a lot of people tend to forget that. And that, prenups are for the masses. It's not just for the 1% or the very wealthy people, especially if you're somebody who is looking to build their wealth and you have, some savings that you brought in to the marriage, and you want to protect those savings from being commingled, or if it is commingled, what does that mean in the event that we do ever get divorced? So I think that's very important for individuals to understand the purpose of a prenup, and it's actually more beneficial for individuals that do not necessarily have a lot of wealth, because as they say, if you have $1 million and you have to split 50% of that, well, okay, you have still 500 grand, but if you only have $100,000 to split between the two of you, you only have 50 grand, and that's a huge difference to start over with. But anyway, so prenups, I also do divorces, I do paternity, I also do adoptions, I do domestic violence restraining orders, civil harassment restraining orders, elder abuse restraining orders, property division, spouse support, child support, just anything to do with families and protecting the rights of families, then that is exactly what I would help them with. So if an individual is facing a violent situation, or they feel like they are being exposed to abuse, then I'm definitely somebody that they would call. I do self-brand myself as my legal warrior, and a lot has to do with that. Warrior name is my last name. So I'm of Egyptian descent, and so my last name specifically means warrior. And so it just seemed very fitting, and obviously all I do is law and family law at that. So I definitely provide those who do not have a voice. And sometimes you don't necessarily need an attorney to represent you from start to finish in your matter, but you need to talk to an attorney and to consult with you and to give you a strategy. And so I definitely provide those services as well.
Awesome, man. That's quite a bit that you do then. Do you have a team or is it just you? How does that work?
Yeah, it's just me. So I only take a handful of clients at a time. I only can work on a handful of clients anyways at a time. And so I want to always provide, quality service. I don't ever want to compromise my quality of work for my clientele or even the attention and communication that they need in every single case. So I do only limit it to a handful so that there is that quality service that's given there. And I mean, there's no need for me at this point in time to necessarily expand, beyond that. I don't want to run necessarily a high volume, practice or have a bunch of associates or anything like that. I prefer that it is a one woman show, and I've been that way for years, and it's been pretty great. So yeah.
Mhm. Have you worked, how does it work? Have you worked like a firm before, or have you always been just on your own?
Yeah, so I have worked with a firm before. When I started out, I was a contract attorney for several family law firms. One of them was for my mentor that I actually was introduced to when I was 17, and I did intern for him. And so when I finished law school, I went back to him and he allowed me to be an associate there, I guess you could say, but maybe not under the name of an associate, but more so as just a contract attorney until I, got the licensing in California. And then I also decided to pick up on just other jobs within the community for family law attorneys. And because I had such extensive experience, I was actually helping firms that wanted to build their family law practice. And so they were kind of consulting with me and having me alongside them in their family law cases to build that part of their practice. And then I decided that I really wanted to be an associate attorney somewhere. So I did work for about a year and 8 months at a firm here locally in San Diego. And then just some issues with that. But I have nothing but respect, for that firm and for that group. It's just was not a good fit eventually, but yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So what is it, I guess with the firms, did you just not, what made you say, okay, I'm gonna just branch out and do my own thing on my own? What made you do that?
So what made me do that is the fact that I was, leaving this firm,
Hmm.
and the client referrals, my practice was independently being, built. And I just saw that it was significantly more lucrative for me to have my own clients. I mean, as an attorney, people think, oh, you must be paid like hundreds of $1,000s a year. And in San Diego, it is not like that at all, regardless of your experience, unless you're a partner or you have your own law practice. So as an associate, I don't know, just saw the numbers and it just made more sense for me to do my own thing. I had the flexibility, especially being, a female, and hopefully having like a family someday and all of that. I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to continue doing what I'm doing. And I don't have to nickel and dime clients. I don't have to charge for every second of every time that I even think about their case. I get to do things my way. And I also got to help individuals that really couldn't afford an attorney. So I really love assisting individuals that, I can't necessarily afford my services, but need it. They actually do need somebody by their side, or they need somebody to prepare documentation, for them so that they could litigate on their own in court. So I wanted, again, to be like a voice for those individuals that just felt like they couldn't have a voice. So I volunteered a lot of my time through the San Diego Volunteers Lawyers Program around that time, as well as, again, as I was building my practice. Obviously, I didn't do it right off the bat, but as I was building my practice, I figured, I need to give back. And yeah, so I just continued on that same path, and very grateful for that flexibility.
Awesome. Now, would you say in terms of becoming an attorney, a lawyer, what type of, is there a certain type of personality type that would make a good lawyer? Have you found?
Um, initially I thought that you had to have like a very strong personality, aggressive and things like that. But in law school, I met all sorts of different people, and I don't see myself as having a strong personality or an A-type personality or anything like that. But everybody else was telling me that that I can be aggressive and that I can be persistent. And, I'm just like a lawyer. I'm so detail oriented and so on and so forth. And I didn't see that in myself. And what I saw in others, though, is that, some were just like me, a lot more vocal than I was. And then there were some very quiet students, and they did well in school and they went off to do more transactional work. So I don't think that you have to have necessarily this like confrontational personality to be an attorney. You can be one of those people that work in-house counsel or just do a lot more transactional work that doesn't require you to litigate. There are litigators and then there's mediators. And so those mediators don't litigate. They have a law license. So, and I believe they also are licensed within their state. I meant that they had a law degree, but I wasn't really sure whether they actually have a law license. And I don't think you need a law license to be a mediator, but anyways, the personalities are really, I don't think there is a specific personality in order for you to be an attorney, other than liking to read and being very detail oriented.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, with the level of success you've kind of built within your business as well, and based on where you currently are in your business, has this been all planned? Did you have a master plan when you were younger, saying, hey, this is my exact path I'm going to take? Or did you just kind of felt your way through it to end up here?
That's a hard question to answer because I just have a new approach to life right now and a new approach to my business. But I am somebody who plans every moment of her life. So I've been doing that, since I was 17, right? Like I knew that this is where I wanted to be. I knew that I wanted to be a family law professional, period. And I've achieved and exceeded all of my goals. And I thought that, by a certain age, I was going to be in a certain, category, I suppose. And when I've kind of got to that, I don't really know what other goals I should necessarily have. And so planning, I'm 100% on board with planning. I love planning. But I think there comes a point in your life where you don't want to necessarily plan every single aspect of your life. And when we think about, a business, in order for a business to strive, you do need to have a plan. And I think not fearing change. And I think one of the problems with our professions, as an attorney, is that we don't really change the way we practice. So I want to disrupt the legal practice, and I want, again, to be still an individual that clientele could come to for those who don't have a voice. They feel like they can't have a voice. And so I'm planning, just to answer your question more specifically, I am planning on taking measures, and I have been actually doing it, to take measures in order for me to disrupt the market. And I mean, look at the coronavirus. I mean, how many law practice would have ever dreamed of even working virtually, and they're forced to. I mean, I have no practices. I know a handful of practices actually throughout California that didn't, stay home and conducted business, as usual, but took some precautions. But yeah, so I mean, with the coronavirus, a lot of individuals now, a lot of companies now are going virtual and they like it. But I thought that this was actually the best way a few years back. And I was working towards that. A few years ago, I knew that I don't want to have paper documents for my clients. And they always constantly ask me for the divorce judgment or, oh, Jylan, do you have this? I need a copy of it to submit to whatever my employer or my doctor or whoever it might be. And so I thought, I want to go paperless. And so I started that a couple of years ago. And then going back to individuals that need representation when they're victims of domestic violence, that's something I really wanted to focus my practice on, and children as well, like child custody issues. So I do have a plan for sure. And I need to have a plan in order for me to continue being successful. I wouldn't have been able to be here where I am today without, a plan for the last, 16 years. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, question now, in terms of COVID-19, do you have a local office as well too, or have you been working from home?
Yeah, so I work from home. I'm actually sitting in my house right now. But yeah, I primarily, anyways, I would only meet with clients that needed for me to meet with them. The people that are not necessarily technology savvy, yeah, I can't get around meeting with them, virtually. I will say that I didn't really do this virtual thing until this year. I just feel like people were not necessarily like comfortable with it, and so I never even necessarily offered that. It was always over the phone. But if they wanted to meet with me, then I would schedule an appointment with them to meet with me at the office in La Jolla. So they had both options, but I love the virtual aspect of it. And I think COVID has allowed people to be more comfortable with it. And
Mm-hmm.
so now it's not even something I have to think about. Like, oh, and I sometimes actually encourage it. Some are still kind of a little hesitant, like, oh, I can just go ahead and talk to you on the phone. I'm like, oh, I'd love to meet you. And then talking about potential new, clients, like, oh, I'd love to meet you. I'd love for us to at least have that face-to-face interaction, to meet your warrior, for us to, consult a little bit further or to strategize about your matter. So yes.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. So in essence, let me see. With your clients, I guess the question now becomes, so you said in terms of the virtual. So do you want like a virtual practice? Are you enjoying doing it this way?
Absolutely. It's a lot more efficient, and it's like I have a lot more time to spend on a lot of my cases at the same time. I'm not spending time driving to the office. I'm not spending time obviously driving back home. I'm not spending it right now with the courts. I mean, they're operational, ironically, because of all the protesting, rioting, and stuff like that today. So the court's closed. But the court is not, at least for family law, they're not even allowing the virtual hearings until June 8th. And so we're very far behind in that regard. But I think moving forward, I mean, this is great. Now we actually have electronic filing. I don't have to hire somebody to go down to the courthouse to file paperwork. I don't have to go down to the courthouse to file paperwork. It's just a lot more efficient, cost efficient, and time efficient for all the clients. There's just no need for me to be charging somebody, $350 an hour to drive to courthouse and to come back. And then on top of that, you're charging for whatever parking fees or meter fees or whatever it might be. And then of course your time in court, like it's going to significantly save people money. So especially during this time, their unemployment rates so high.
Yeah, awesome. Love it, love it. And virtual is so powerful, right? Because you get to as you said, save time. You get to like really, it feels like you're meeting someone in person, or you're really not, but it just has an experience of that feel. And at the end of the day, people they just want results, right? So what's the fastest, quickest way to get to the point, figure out the information they need and be able to take the next step, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, really all clients care about is the results and having realistic expectations. And I think what, separates me from a lot of attorneys in, I don't know about all of California, but at least in Southern California and saying specifically, is that I really do care about the results. So if I feel like I'm going to come across a case that I'm going to lose on, that's not a case that I necessarily want to be associated with. And it's not because I don't want to lose. It's just I like the client's expectations are probably unrealistic. And if they don't understand that they're not going to achieve a certain result, and they still want to work with me, like I don't want that. I mean, I'm the one who's appearing in front of the judge, and judges day in, day out, my reputation matters. Like I want judges to look at me like, oh, this is a reputable attorney. She's never come in here with some BS claim. She's always come in here, professional and arguing points that have been, reasonable and things like that. Like I want to have a good name for myself in the community. So if I knew that there's a chance of losing, that's different. But if somebody comes to me with a very solid, there's no way they're going to win in court, but yet want me to make all of these arguments for them, they're not the type of, clients that I want to necessarily have. So that's why I kind of say, like with me, there's no losing, because I know realistically what is going to be a winning case and what is not going to be a winning claim. So
Hmm.
yeah, results definitely matter.
Awesome. What about your clients? Are they typically local to your area? Are you working with them nationally, globally? What's that process?
So, because I'm a family law attorney, I can only practice in California, although I do have a license in New York. I just recently got that. And then I also have a law license in District of Columbia. So I can practice in those three jurisdictions for state-specific areas like family law. And that's really all I care about is family law anyway. So I wouldn't really go beyond that. But if I was a bankruptcy attorney, for example, or any laws that were on a federal level, then I could practice essentially anywhere within the United States. Internationally, that's why I got the New York law license, is so that if in the future, I mean, I don't know, I just kind of had it as part of my plan, since New York is the second hardest bar in the United States, California being the first. I wanted to have that under my belt, just in case that I did end up moving to the East Coast or internationally, and I could work for a company that has global offices, but needed perhaps a New York license or a California license or a DC license. So, but currently, as it stands today, all of my clients are either, well, California, Texas, and New York, actually.
Mhm.
But their cases are in California. So they just moved away during or after their case, or they moved away before starting a case.
Hmm. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Well, we're running short on time, but if someone wanted to connect with you, what is the best way for them to be able to reach out?
They can always contact me via my cell phone, 858-761-8661. If I don't pick up, then my receptionist will go ahead and pick up and direct you to my voicemail. And then also email. I mean, I'm very great at responding. I usually respond within the same day, but sometimes, if things are a little bit too overwhelming, then 24 to 48 hours, somebody can definitely expect a response. So Jylan, Jylan, at my last name, megahed.esq.com. And I'm also all over social media. Besides TikTok, I haven't gone on that bandwagon just yet, but Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, I'm on all of those as my legal warrior.
Hmm. Awesome, guys. So all the links that Jylan just shared with us here today, if you're watching this interview on the replay or on the live, I'll definitely have them either above or below this video, so you'll be able to click and get connected right to her. Well, Jylan, hey, thank you so much for making the time to be here today. Really appreciate it. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
The only final thoughts that I have is, if you are contemplating hiring an attorney or talking to an attorney or trying to do things yourself, don't be shying away to do things on your own, but to always consult with an attorney, because they might give you a different perspective. And a lot of attorneys out there do provide free consultations, such as myself. And with those consultations, you can get some of your questions answered and perhaps have a different, again, perspective on your matter, and may actually help you in the long run, save you some time and hopefully money if you did mess up on your, self-represented, paperwork. But I always say consult with an attorney, because a lot of us do offer free consultations. And if you still want to do something for free, then great. I will help you do that to self-represent you, but it has to be realistic. So yeah.
Awesome, Jylan. Well, again, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon, okay?